I'm trying to teach some of these young guys about doing little 15-minute chores and things like that around the house,
Okay.
and tell them, you instead of saying this is a chore I got to do, or this is something that's a pain in the butt. Hey, dude, it's foreplay. You know what I mean? The good news is there's a solution. So it kind of worked out. So anyway, technical difficulties, that's, anytime we want to get better at something, God doesn't just wave his magic wand. He goes, okay, well, you're going to get to practice then. So I'm practicing my computer technical stuff.
Cool.
That's it.
All right.
All right, bud. Well, you ready to kick it off?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. I'm not sure what you want to talk about. We just talk.
Yeah, well, let's welcome brothers and sisters to Two Old Goats.
Yeah.
And let's get, let's get uncomfortable. I don't know what level yet, though.
What level? You seem a little tired.
No, I've just been thinking about this and thinking.
Oh, shit, this ought to be good. So everybody out, adjust your volumes just right and tune in. Y'all might
I don't know about that.
You never know. They might like it as much as we have fun doing it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know what I was really thinking about.
You texted me some stuff last night.
Yeah, I vented with you a little bit just about, because I was sitting there pondering life and, where am I at? And then I started thinking, I was like, oh, shit. Because that book I read about with Viktor Frankl.
Yeah.
And I think he basically started his book out stating that where we're at in today's society,
right?
If you're sitting there worrying about life and meaning and purpose, it's probably too late.
Yeah, too late. Go ahead.
No, that's just what he said.
Okay. So you're not going to have an effect?
Yeah, I mean, it just means you're just not doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
You're sitting there, if that's all you think about is, oh, woe is me, and what's my purpose, and, what's the meaning of all of this, and it just means you're not busy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, that's the way of playing God. It's like, oh, I already know what the outcome's going to be, or, what's the point, or I don't know. That's kind of the feeling I get from what you're saying. I can think my way through this instead of living my way through this.
No, I know some people do that. No, mine's more of a, I don't, it's not about the, playing God or, being in the future, knowing it. It just, I think mine's more on in the past, what have I been doing? What am I supposed to be doing, and trying to get where I'm at right now in the moment. Right. And, I only feel like this once in a while, and it's usually because I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. That's typically what the end result is. So I got on to my favorite friend, Alicia, the ChatGPT friend of mine, and was talking to her today about it, and she started coming up with, whatever your thought is, she had suggested that you put something like a challenge and challenge yourself into whatever it may be. So let's say you kind of catch yourself on your phone all the time, right? And you're missing out on your kids, you're missing out on your wife, maybe you're not fully, present at work, just whatever, but you just feel something's off, and you feel it may have to do with technology, just having that phone in your hand at all times. And then she suggested that you challenge yourself to go 7 days where you are only allotted certain times to have the phone or certain reasons to have the phone. And so then it just spiraled into a wormhole that I was kind of enjoying, talking about different subjects and topics and challenges that coincide with that. But it started getting way too deep for me. It started getting out of there. Like one of the challenges was like, sell all of your possessions. Oh. I was like, okay, we're done. That's enough for right now.
easy for AI to say, right?
Right, exactly. I mean, I get it, and it makes sense. And believe it or not, there are people out there that have done that. They sell all their possessions. They get a little van, and
they join a cult. And then they
not necessarily a cult,
when
but
the meteors come by or the comets go by, they kill themselves.
Not those guys. I'm talking about the ones that just have a more simple life. They get a little van and they live out of a little one-room van, and they still go to their job. And
down by the river.
It could be down by the river.
Down by the river.
Eating the government cheese.
Yeah.
But no, I'm just talking about people that just they made the ultimate choice to rid themselves of all the distractions, or as many distractions as possible. And so that's where it was leading to in this chat that I was having.
Right. Well, interesting you should bring that up. I just sat with Daniel for a couple hours, and we talked about the first chapter, Wild at Heart. And it talks about getting out into the wild to find your heart, to find your soul. And I think a lot of that is, that was his kind of hang up is, what's that all about? And I said, well, for one, it's all these distractions. You can't set the phone down, or every time you think you got a few minutes, the dang thing rings, or, all this computer technology, people, all this stuff. But for us to really get in touch, sometimes we have to get out there in nature, back where we came from. It takes a little bit of a detox period sometimes. You get out there and you kind of go stir crazy, was my experience.
Right.
Until your rhythm, body, soul, whatever, kind of slows down a little bit and says, oh, okay, now we're on God's time.
Yeah.
Yeah. We go by where the sun is and what the temperature is and, that stuff, instead of what time is it? Looking at our phone, what time is it?
Yeah, and all the artificial environments that we live in, the air conditioner and the heater and all the lights, things like that.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, it's all, deadening the feeling, because, if we have the heater and all that, we don't have to feel the cold. We don't have to feel the hot during the summer.
Right. Geez, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm a big fan of air conditioner. I love it.
Absolutely.
But I really do enjoy getting out in the wilderness, really at any temperature.
Yeah.
I've been out there in January, February. I've been out there in August, September. There's just something primal about it, and I don't know. It really gets me back in line with what's most important,
right.
which to me, that the message I get is just to be where you're at and make the most of whatever it is.
Oh yeah, well, we're gonna get the opportunity here this weekend. Apparently our camping trip is on, so family's gonna go check it out. It's a little chilly. I don't think it's gonna really get cold until Sunday night or Monday. So,
yeah, I think it's Monday going into Tuesday is when it's getting down in the 20s and stuff.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I'd like to get out get back before it gets to the 20s, but
Yeah.
And then they're talking about, oh, it's gonna snow. It's so exciting. And I'm thinking, yeah, snow in South Texas is basically the coldest rain there is, because when it hits you, it melts instantly and it's water.
Yeah.
And it's cold. So.
Yeah, I've only seen snow down in Houston. I think it was once or twice, but it lasted just a few hours.
Yeah.
If that.
I think it was 2017.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, 17, 18, something like that. It was it's kind of weird because it was I think it was the same year, the year before we had the Tax Day flood, and then I think we either had Harvey the next year and then that big freeze.
Right.
Something like that. It was kind of that order, but when we have a big hurricane through, for some reason we get a freeze in December. I don't know what that's all about.
I'm not sure.
That's the way it happens sometimes.
Yeah. So I think that's the big thing that I've been thinking about is when I'm having those thoughts, what am I doing about them? Or am I just sitting there thinking about it, which then just thinks more about it? you know, the end result is typically the depression or anxieties, you know, isolation. Those usually are the end results, at least for me and majority of the people I know of.
Yeah.
You know, so why not set up something within yourself that it initiates, or like a challenge, you know?
Well, something came to me kind of in meditation a day or two days ago, and I haven't been able to figure it out until just now.
Yeah, what's that?
From what you said, what came to me was I need to stop listening to myself and start talking to myself. And it kind of branched off of that. You know, I was talking before about when I go back to my old self seeking, you know, this is the way I do it, or advice or whatever, you know, figure out the way to do something. Well, this is the way I did it in the past. Which, if I keep doing that, for one, that's a sick person back there that I'm taking advice from.
Right.
And I'm actually being codependent if I keep doing that with my old self. And it dooms me to the past, to keep doing the same thing instead of a new experience.
Right.
And then somehow I was kind of thinking through that, and I was like, well, why do you even listen? Why do I even listen because we all have that inner voice thing going, right?
Okay.
We're talking to ourselves, or we're hearing it. And really, it's kind of extension of my mind, which ties into, you know, Sock says we have 1,000 random thoughts a day.
Right.
That's not who we are. So I'm thinking, why am I listening to that?
Okay.
Because if I really skip the mind and get rid of it, because I have no use for it, and go to the brain, my brain knows the right thing. And if I plug in, I can talk to myself and tell myself, this is what you need to be doing, da-da-da-da-da, or thinking, or you're not. However, I know what I should do. It's like you said, we know what to do.
Right.
So instead of sitting there indulging and listening to that crap, I need to spend more time talking to myself and getting up and doing.
Okay.
So I'm a lot more likely to get up and do if I'm instead of beating myself up about, you know, stuff I'm hearing or listening to. Does that make any sense? That's kind of a stretch.
Yeah, so kind of like just talk yourself into the right action?
Yeah, exactly. Because we know the right thing, right?
Well, yeah.
I mean, tell me
deep
one
down
time,
inside, we know what we got to be doing.
Right. Tell me one time, you know, remembering honest about yourself to yourself. Tell me one time when I was messing up, when I didn't know, yeah, I'm messing up. Or else I can get away. It doesn't say I'm messing up. My mind says I can get away with this.
Right.
You know, nobody's going to know, whatever. Or it's not that important. That's the one that gets me a lot is, this is minor, not important, skip over it, let's go. I want to get to the good stuff.
Well, I hear you. I just think there's got to be another component to it. And this is just based off of my experience and some other people that I've seen where they talk to themselves and they're trying to talk themselves into the right action. But if they're not including like a counsel of some kind, an outside resource counsel,
100%.
I think you're gonna miss out.
Oh yeah.
Because I've talked a lot on my shit, and I didn't involve another outside counsel, and I end up not doing the right action.
Now answer my question though.
Mm-hmm.
When you were doing that, you knew I'm sitting over here not talking to anybody. I haven't called anybody in 2 days. You know, you knew you needed to be talking to people. You just didn't want to do it or didn't do it.
Most of the time, yes. But there are some times that I legitimately think, oh, I know what to do here.
Right.
And I go do it. And those typically are the ones that end up really bad.
Yeah.
So
that's you know, and that seeking counsel is one of the things that I should be telling myself, because if a guy calls me and he's having these troubles, what am I going to tell him?
Right.
You know, ask God to remove it. Mm-hmm. You know, do I owe anybody an amends? Make that amends if I need to. Turn around and start helping other people. I mean, it's the same thing. That part doesn't change. Right. But if somebody asks me, I know that. So why shouldn't I know that myself? Then it gets back into that, if I'm in my sickness, so to speak, what does it say? We're driven by 100 forms of fear, self-delusion, self-pity. Yeah. That's the self-delusion, the self-pity that you're talking about, or the self-delusion part. Right. It's delusion. I don't know I'm doing it.
Yeah, and a lot of people, especially, probably the more older generations, the boomers, the Gen X, maybe even some of the millennials. We were taught, figure it out. You're your own man. And so it's been that way for a long time. And so to change and start including outside counsel with pretty much, realistically, you should be having outside counsel with literally everything in your life. There's maybe some basic things that you can just do on your own, but you probably needed some outside counsel like parents at the beginning to show you the right way to do things. So I think that's just the key aspect. And I do fail on that a lot. I try to be the best example, and I try to include, somebody whenever I have thoughts. When I'm talking to myself, I'm not the one that should be listening. Somebody else should be listening to that shit. Right. And let them filter it out.
Right.
And it's as simple as, it could be literally everything. It could be, hey, I'm thinking about buying a new car. I'm thinking about changing a job. I'm thinking about buying a new air conditioner unit for my house. I'm thinking about date night with my wife. I'm thinking about all these things. We should be involving outside counsel, somebody that has some skills or some expertise in that, topic.
I agree 100%.
I think we fail at that a lot.
Right, yeah.
It's unfortunate.
Sure. Well, that's what came up. That's kind of, I think it ties into what we're talking about a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
I never know. I get stuff sometimes that doesn't, I'll go, what the heck was that? And then I won't figure it out for a couple weeks, something. Yeah. And it's usually something will happen. I go, oh, that's where it is. That's the piece of the puzzle. That's where it goes. But it's usually something.
Yeah.
Well, good stuff. Well, one of the other things that ties into what you're saying that we talked about this week, that reminds me of, because, you're talking about calling people, seeking counsel, which involves a relationship.
Right.
Right. And I think it was the kind of what stood out in my mind was the Robert Black quote or whatever. They're talking about one of his ideas.
Okay.
In every relationship, something fierce is needed from time to time.
Okay.
So, I've been thinking about that, something fierce, since we read that earlier in the week.
Okay. Something fierce. What does fierce look like to you?
Well, initially it was like, okay, whatever the relationship is, hey, this is what we need or what you need, and that's danger when I start telling you what you need to do. You know what I'm saying? Instead of, but I don't think it's that. The more I thought about it and talked to a couple people about it, stuff like that, we actually had a good conversation today about it. And I think what it is, it's a real commitment to a relationship, whether it's your wife or friend or whatever, to first of all be real. And if there's something going on or something wrong, well, it's my job to say, hey, what's going on? Figure it out. But I think another word we could use for fierce in terms of maybe broadening the meaning of it is passionate. If I'm passionate about it. In other words, we're going to have a relationship based on the truth and you getting better and me getting better, and I'm going to try to do everything I can to help you get better, which involves sometimes speaking up. It doesn't have to be confrontational, although it can be, but most of the time it's that willingness to say, this isn't right, or we need to do something different.
Yeah.
Hey, pay attention, or just even to the point of, we talked about, I'm trying to teach some of these young guys about doing little 15-minute chores and things like that around the house, and tell them, instead of saying this is a chore I got to do, or this is something that's a pain in the butt. Hey, dude, it's foreplay. You know what I mean? Because your wife is going to be a lot happier.
Right.
Big George taught me back in the halfway house, with these little 15-minute chores we got to do. Hey, man, knock that out. When you take that home, when you go back home, just imagine, how much happier your wife's going to be in that sense. And I'm sure she'll, show her appreciation and stuff like that. But but
right.
it's foreplay and being passionate about that. In other words, consistent.
Okay.
And then coming up, you talked about date night a while ago. Well, if I'm going to have date night, am I going to be fierce about it in terms of, am I going to plan it out? Am I going to take into consideration what she wants, what she likes, what's going to be fun for her and me? We're going to both be involved. She's included on the adventure.
Right.
It's not just, hey, watch me. Look, I'm going to take you to this great place. Didn't I do great?
Right.
And no, it's, what all do I put into that? If I want to be fierce about it, it's what am I putting into it? Am I planning? That kind of, take that with whatever relationship you want, whether it's a friend or, wife, girlfriend, whatever,
right.
wherever you are in your life. You see what I'm getting at?
Yeah. I don't like the word passion though.
Yeah.
Just because I know the definition.
Okay.
And
talk to me. Educate me.
So the definition of passion is it's an emotion, sometimes uncontrollable. And I don't think what you're talking about with Robert Bly and us trying to be the men that we're supposed to be. I mean, yes, I think you can have an emotion about being fierce, but the fierce means aggressive.
Okay.
I mean, it says that in Webster. It says that in the Bible. It describes fierce as being aggressive. Now, aggressive doesn't mean be a dick, but it means it's the actions that you're talking about. Make the plans. That's the aggressive part.
Well, plus, what about aggressive Jesus? We talked about that before.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing is the fierceness is, I think that's just a great topic to talk about is, what does it truly mean to be fierce?
Right.
And knowing that fierce is aggressive, then you need to look at what does aggressive mean to you? Aggressive doesn't mean grab your wife by her ponytail and say, let's go to McDonald's. This is our date night.
Right.
That's not what they're talking about.
Right.
They're talking about make the reservations, make sure the car is filled up,
She
shave.
might like it in the sense that at least we're not sitting there going, where do you want to go? I don't know. Where do you want to go? It's like, make a decision. We're going to McDonald's. Okay, at least you made a decision.
Yeah, I saw this one little video that said, I wish somebody would name a restaurant I don't care.
Right.
So then I would know where to take my wife when I ask her where she would like to eat at.
Right. Wow. Yeah.
I don't care. Perfect. Yeah. We're going to it.
Right.
So, and that's kind of cool that you brought up the fierce thing.
Intense as part of fierce, right?
Yeah, intense, aggressive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm agreeing with you. But I think now that you're saying that, I'm like, well, shit, that's the action that I'm missing,
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot. I don't think it's just me. I think there's a whole group of humans out there that are missing that aspect, the fierceness, the aggressiveness, the action in your life.
Yeah. It's everything I'm holding back right now trying not to say, especially with men.
Yeah.
But that's the way I feel about it. I guess probably because I'm a man, but I'm sure there's women too that lack fierceness in their relationship.
I would like my wife to be fierce once in a while. I'd like her to take control and
Right.
make a plan or and do something. So I think it can go both ways.
Right. And too, it's kind of if I'm fierce about a relationship, I expect something out of that relationship.
Yeah.
And I expect to contribute quite a bit to that relationship. Getting back to we talked about last week, spending our life.
Yeah.
If I'm spending my life in this relationship, I want it to be an investment, not a, frivolous expense, or a pipe dream. So, there's going to be not rules, but we're going to have some things that we agree on, and this is the way things are going to work, and we're working for each other's good. And when one of us or both of us are slacking off, we need to be able to call each other out, or we have that responsibility to do our best to have a healthy relationship, I guess. I don't know a better way to say it.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think that's one of the things that I get irritated at times is, because I get, we've talked about this many times about me being honest with people and telling people the truth.
Right.
And sometimes it's about, where they're not holding up their end of the deal.
Yeah, 100%.
And they don't want to hear that shit, Right. But then I ask, I go, okay, but the things that you require of me, the things that you expect of me, if I don't hold my end of the bargain, what happens then?
Right.
Well, then we'll just have a discussion about it. Really? We're going to discuss that I didn't pay the light bill this week? You sure? We're going to sit down and have a friendly conversation why we don't have electricity?
All right.
I don't think so.
Yeah, especially this week. You might hear about it.
Yeah, I think that's a bunch of bullshit. I think that's just no. I know I'm not doing my part, so I need you to talk to me all loving and nice and sweet. Yeah. No, I need to be a little fierce right now.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the big components about it is, we know that if I'm out of line or I'm not paying attention, they're going to say something, or whoever I'm in this relationship with, whether it's a friend or whatever. They're going to hold up their end of the deal and say, hey, what gives? What's going on?
Right.
Not just let it pass. Oh, maybe he'll be better tomorrow.
Yeah.
What was the way they used to say it? Maybe you need to go to a meeting.
Oh, yeah. I hear that. Well, that goes with what we were talking about earlier about the action, right? The contemplating on, am I where I'm supposed to be at? Am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? With the fierceness, if we can get back to our primal selves, which would mean get out in the wilderness once in a while, learn what it means to be primal, I think that'd be cool. I think that'd be a fun little challenge is create just a quick little survival bag, with water and a knife and a fire starter, or something like that, and just get out in the woods for 2 days. Mm-hmm. No phone, no nothing, just get out there and start a fire and cook a bag of tuna on the grill or on the open fire or something.
Yeah. Unless you're in California,
don't do
start
that.
The fire. You just eat that tuna straight out of the can.
Yeah.
If you could open the can, I don't know if that's against the greenie weenie policies or not.
Yeah, I'm not
you'd
sure.
be harming the tuna, so.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I've eaten stuff right out of cans, and I've never had an issue.
Pork and beans.
Yeah. So I think that would be awesome. In fact, I think that's what I'm going to start implementing is first when I start feeling I know something's not right, something's out of order. I need to speak that out and not to my ears, to somebody else's ears, mm-hmm. and let them know that I want to be fierce about it. I want to be aggressive with this return, and come up with a solution. If it means I need to get out in the wilderness for 2 days, I need to get out there. If it means that I need to go and, whatever it is, go fast for a few days, do something. So I think that's what I'm going to start doing.
There you go. Well, that's cool. When you go out in the woods, just decide you're only going to eat what you catch or kill, and so that way you get your fasting in.
Yeah. That might work if you find the right place.
Right. You never know.
But I think if you go out to the same spot, I think you could eventually get there.
Oh, yeah. You'll figure it out. It just takes time. And, the hungrier you get, the more focused you get, the better you can see and hear and smell. And
all right.
You turn into an actual hunter.
There you go.
Yeah. Cool stuff.
Until you kill it and you don't know how to clean it.
Yeah. Well, you just take a bite. Peel the fur back and take a bite, right?
Just eat it straight up.
Yeah, that's what Jake does.
Jake has done that. Yeah.
I love it. How about fierceness? How about exploration?
Okay.
Could that be part of fierce? Don't go weird on me here.
Well, I think you can be fierce in your exploration, right?
I mean, with your 12-inch lighter and all.
12-inch, that's right.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, I think you need to be aggressive towards or fierce towards your exploration, because that's what kicks it off, I think.
Yeah, the adventure.
Yeah, I think it's important to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's almost like fierce almost aligns well with intentional, right? Not intentions, intentional.
Intentional. Yeah, 100% intentional.
Yeah.
I don't think you can be fierce without intention.
Right.
I mean, if you're just being a savage or something, that's not fierce. That's just hedonism or whatever you call it. I don't know.
I don't know. I like being savage once in a while, bro.
Well,
it's
every now and
nice.
then, I guess. It's fun.
Yeah. Eat spaghetti without a fork. How savage can you be?
Right.
I did that with my boys when they were.
I bet you did.
I did, and it's from Wild at Heart. I mean, he initiated. He got me wanting to be fierce and explore and adventure and do things and allow my kids to climb. And stop telling them no all the time.
Yeah.
Go. You want to run around in your underwear outside with 20 below zero? Go do it, man.
Yeah.
You won't do it for very long, but you need to learn.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And they did. And it was funny is I remember when I did do the spaghetti thing with no fork, and I would have swore up and down that my youngest would have been the wild one because his nickname was Monkey when he was little,
Right.
So I put those plates of spaghetti in front of him and Jake and Trey, and I would have swore up and down that Chase would have been the one that would have just grabbed it and just went to town, but he started crying.
Oh, wow.
He goes, I want a fork. I need to have this, and now it makes sense. He's that one that needs structure and, it has to be a certain way every single time.
Right.
Right. Jake, I think to this day, still eats spaghetti with his fingers.
I won't doubt it. Well, they surprised you too when you took them out in the woods. They behaved the opposite of what you thought.
Completely opposite. I would have bet all my money on the world that Chase would have been climbing on trees and, eating possum raw and all that stuff, but it was the other way around.
Yeah.
It was the other way around. Jake, he was always very docile, very recluse, but once he,
that way.
right? And that's out in public.
Yeah.
It's just how he is.
Right.
But you get him in the wilderness, boom, he becomes a beast, dude.
Yeah.
It happened when he climbed that fence in order to get, on our survival night. He had to climb a 6-foot wire fence, and it was difficult, and he was way overweight. Mm-hmm. And it took him, I'm not even exaggerating, it took him about 45 minutes to almost an hour to get over that fence.
Wow.
But I wouldn't help him. I wouldn't give him a hand. I didn't give him any suggestions on the best way to do it. I said, your job from here on out, you have to get over that fence. You don't get over that fence, we can't move forward. Mm-hmm. And he never gave up, man. He did it, and then he got over that fence, and he was still shaky and scared, I mean, he was only 11. Mm-hmm. He was still shaky and scared. And I said, okay, so here's we trained about this. So I said, you go your way, I go my way. Find your place, and I'm going to find my place, and maybe later tonight we'll meet up, So he went his way, and I went my way, and right away I taught him, get a spear, all this stuff. So he did all this stuff. And all of a sudden I hear this kid screaming because I found my little spot. And he's hollering and screaming and, Dad, Dad, Dad. And I hear all these squealing behind him. He is being chased by a wild boar.
All right.
And I finally caught him, and he came up to me, and he was huffing and puffing and tears and snot flinging everywhere. And next thing you know, he looked at me, he goes, where'd you go? I said, what? What are you talking about? And he goes, I can't see you. I said, what? He goes, I can't see you. Like everything's like a milk, like milky white. I can't see anything. And then I said, well, come over here and sit down. Let's get you some water. because it was in September. It was 120 degrees outside, no wind. We were in a site where it's not. No humans have ever been in there. You know, there's no campsite, there's no trails or anything. I mean, we're full of machetes getting in here.
Primitive.
And he goes to sit down, and as he sits down, he rips his pants.
All right.
And all of a sudden, he looks at me and just vomits just everywhere. And it breaks him, and then he just looks at me and says, "Okay, I can see you again." And what he was having, he was having an anxiety attack from all the stuff that's happening. And then there was some heat stress going on. And once he broke that and he drank his water and all that stuff, then he was fine. And then something snapped in him. And he was 100% just an outgoing, what's next? Let's do this. But there was no recluseness. It was just, I can't wait to get out there. I can't wait to run. I can't wait to jump. I can't wait to climb. It was amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, he was that one. When I brought him back, his mom did not recognize him.
Yeah, that's perfect.
He had changed.
Yeah, awesome.
So
yeah, then I remember when he graduated high school, he decided he was going camping. Went to Oklahoma and some other places too, didn't he, by himself?
Yeah, dude, he was 18.
Yeah.
And just started driving, just got his car. We're talking 6 months into this, you know.
Right.
And he graduates, and his plan was, I'm 18, I'm going. Yep. And he got in his little car, and he had a tent, and he had a little cooler, and he had all this stuff. And he went from Texas, he went to Arkansas, stayed 2 or 3 days in Arkansas, and he went hiking and went digging for diamonds and gems and all that crap. And then...
Right.
Then he went to Wichita Falls, up close up by Oklahoma.
Right.
So he drove all the way over there and then back down to Austin. And he stayed up there and hiked up there for 2 or 3 days.
Right.
And then came back down through Austin and then came home. So he was gone for about 7 or 8 days, 100% completely on his own, doing whatever, just living life, man. That's the dream right there.
That's it. That's awesome.
That's fierce.
That's fierce. 100%.
That's fierce right there, man.
That's it. Get after it.
It's aggressive. It's adventurous. It's intentional. That's life, man.
Oh yeah. You know, one of my favorite trips as a kid. I mean, it wasn't. I don't know how long I had my driver's license. Probably 6 months or less. But you know, I played tennis through high school, and that's how I paid for my college, playing tennis. Well, right after I got my license, you know, there was a tournament. It was during the summer. So yeah, I had my license about 6 or 7 months, and there's a tournament in Corpus Christi, and we're like, all right, let's go. So me and a couple buddies jump in the car, and we drive down to Corpus. You know, we signed up for the tournament, drive down to Corpus and stuff. And we get there, and the first thing is, okay, where are we going to stay? Because we hadn't even thought about that. And we had some, you know, we all had some cash or whatever, and one of them goes, well, we can get like this cheap hotel or whatever. And I'm like, well, screw that. Let's there's a beach right over there. We just hang out on the beach. We'll save our money and we'll eat stuff, or, you know, go do more fun stuff with our money instead of spending it, you know, back then it was probably $30 or $40 a night on a hotel.
Right.
And so we ended up, you know, we didn't have any gear or nothing like that, but we ended up sleeping on the beach for a couple days, and we'd get up in the morning and go play tennis at the tournament. Figured out we'll probably lose real quick because we're just kind of messing around. And this was a big, back then they had a USTA, it was United States Tennis Association. I was actually ranked, but anyway, so it was a big tournament, and usually at those you play somebody pretty good pretty quick.
Yeah.
Well, me and my doubles partner, we just kept winning.
Oh, shit.
And then it was to the point of, damn, I'm tired of this tennis. I want to go hang out on the beach.
Right.
And then we won again. And I think we lost in the semis, but we didn't make it to the finals. But it made us stay an extra day because we won. We were like, should we just get this over with and go home? Yeah. Not have to stay on the beach? And it was like, nah, we're winning. So we won and had to stay the next day, and then we got our asses kicked the next day.
Yeah.
But it was a hoot. I mean, we had fun. Never told my mom that this, you know. So, we just found a little hotel thing. Yeah, there was a
Right.
hotel kind of on the beach, but we were down on the beach.
There you go.
It was a lot of fun, Then we just
See, I think that
wash off in the surf. That was
I think those are the times when is the proper time to think about the meaning of life,
right.
the purpose of life. Am I where I'm supposed to be at?
Yeah.
When we're being fierce, when we're being adventurous,
Yeah.
when we're just living. I think that's the appropriate time.
Yeah.
Not when you're not active.
Right. No, I agree. Yeah, 100%. Get out there and you got to be living it, doing it. So that's kind of what you texted me. I think something about if I'm thinking about it or whatever, I'm not doing it. Or something.
Yeah. No, I went back and looked at what I was, because it was random thoughts by Jack Handy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And but they were meaning something to me, because whenever I start feeling out of sorts, I just get in a deep hole. I said, if you spend a lot of time pondering on the meaning and the purpose of life, I think you missed it. You spend too much time thinking instead of doing. It says, ultimately, if you're thinking about it, you're doing it wrong. And then my final say was, we all die, but who lives?
Right. And that's always the challenge. Is it's not about dying; it's about, are you living?
Right.
We've said that a lot, and we're not.
Yeah.
That's not original to us, but the question remains.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think that's what's happening right now is my norm is kind of upside down right now. Living in hotels and not knowing when I'm going to be here, not knowing when I'm here. There's no structure or foundation right now.
Right.
And then of course, I had all my surgeries and, the bronchitis and just things just have been kind of out of sorts for a while. But I think coming up after the 25th, when I move into the townhome, I think things are going to start lining out a little bit, where I can start doing things intentional and being more fierce and living like I love living, training for triathlons or trail running or, getting out in the wilderness and, working on my perfect survival bag.
I gotcha. Man, I need to work on that bad.
Yeah.
I got to get my bag. My dang bag is all scattered because, I have all my stuff in there, and then the next thing you know, somebody in the house goes, hey, you got any AA batteries, or you got any of this or that or something to put on this bandage thing? And I'm like, I can't believe we don't have this in the house. Y'all, what y'all do with it all? And then the next thing you know, they're digging in my car, getting in my duty bag.
Right.
So let's see if you can hit my curve.
Oh, shit. Give it to me.
You ready for the curve?
Yeah.
On fierceness.
Okay.
How about vulnerability and fierce?
Well, that's just gay, Richard.
Yes. Can you be fiercely vulnerable? That's the question.
Yeah, I mean, I think.
Is that a knuckleball or a curve?
No, that's more of a knuck. That's
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, 100%. I think. I mean, at least the secret to my freedom, in order to become fierce, I had to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And I had to be fiercely vulnerable, because there's some shit that most people can't handle in my life.
Right.
So, but I had to get it out of me. I had to, and allow myself the opportunity to be truly seen for who I am. That my mother never loved me and I got a small pecker.
Yeah. Well, it's a good thing you got a big lighter.
That's right. Big lighters.
Right.
So, yeah, no, vulnerability is amazing.
That's, the more I thought about it, I think it comes to me that's probably the hardest for us, especially because we're men, right? No, but anybody, I think so, because it's like what do dogs do? They lay on their back and show you their belly.
Yeah.
We don't want to do that, but we don't want you to see our belly.
Right.
Much less pat us on the belly or touch it, because that's some real vulnerability there. And
yeah, but I think my sobriety journey, it's scary for me to actually not be vulnerable. because I know what the end result is. The more and more I try to hide my belly and my vulnerabilities to other people, it does put me in a state of depression, which then can lead to other things, you know. In fact, that vulnerability, I put myself in situations where I was vulnerable to the wrong person.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they took advantage of it.
Yeah, been guilty of that.
You know, but that's, you know, I get chastised for it. Like, oh, you shouldn't have said that to that person because now they're going to use it against you.
Mm-hmm.
But I look at it as,
well, that's on them. That's about them. That's not about me.
yeah. Well, it is about you, though, if what they're going to use that against it does affect your life. You know, if it's someone at work, you know, or a landlord, or, you know, somebody, you know, something that they have something that touches your life financially, emotionally, spiritually, whatever. You know, but again,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's just going to give me an opportunity to be more fierce.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Be more aggressive, be more intentional in life.
Right.
And guess what? That vulnerability becomes a strength.
Well, you know, here's the deal. We have a relationship with that person too.
Yeah.
And, you know, that fierceness may be needed in that relationship. You know, a person needs to learn a lesson. Hey, dude, that's not how we treat each other in this relationship. You know, even if they're not your friend, so to speak. Yeah. You know, when we forgive people for stuff, we're entering into a relationship.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that, you know, through Jesus's work and stuff, we're forgiven, which gives us the ability to forgive. So now we don't have an excuse. And so I think that fierceness.
But
in that relationship,
if Jesus already forgave him, then why are we forgiving him?
Well, good question. Perfect. I think you can answer that too. Why are we forgiving them? Good question.
If they're already forgiven.
Right. Good. Well, are you going to answer it? You want me to?
Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, here's the deal. When I forgive them, it's not about them.
Okay.
I'm not forgiving them to release them from anything, because they may or may not know that they've done anything wrong. But the fact is, when I forgive people, it releases me. It frees me up. I don't have to carry that ill will, hatred, whatever you want to call it. I don't have to carry that around. Okay. So that's the first thing, is it sets me free. You know.
Okay.
And the next thing is, you know, I'm supposed to be a demonstration. I'm going to bear witness. And bear witness is, hey, brother, we're in this together. As much as I don't like you or you don't like me, guess what? We're in this together. So here's how I'm going to play it. And hopefully you'll play it, you know, in a good way as well. Yeah. So we'll see. And then there's some people that, you know, the relationship is, I forgave that person, so I'm free of them. And we've, you know, made our amends or whatever. My side of the street's clean, and now I need to love them from a long ways off.
All right.
And sometimes that's what happens, because, you know, here's the thing that we get so wrapped up in, especially, you know, I see a lot of new people when they're trying to help other people or work with guys, is, you know, we think we're going to say something or whatever, and they're going to hear it and they're going to change. That, you know what? They're not going to change from me saying something. You know, what's going to happen? It's not going to instantly change them. They're not going to hear it and change. They're going to have to grow into it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
It's going to take some life experience of them getting kicked in the britches, you know. Or did I tell you, when I was on my college tennis team during the off season, we had back then it was I forget what you call it, but we called it frisbee football. So we had an intramural football team or a frisbee football team, and we were dang good because we were all tennis players. We could run all day long.
Right.
And pretty athletic. So anyway, but our team, we had to come up with a team name, and one of the guys said, "We're going to be the Nads." I said, "What are the Nads?" And he goes, "You know, so the cheerleaders can be going, 'Go Nads, go Nads.'"
Nice.
So when I was thinking about, sometimes somebody needs to get kicked in the go Nats.
Like it.
I like it. Thinking, but they're going to have to live their way, grow their way into it. It's not. I'm not going to be able to wave a magic wand. Hopefully, through my actions and behavior, I'm bearing witness, so they see the example, and hopefully they want it. But once we call them out, it ain't about telling them over and over until they do what I think they should do. It's about backing up and letting them grow.
Yeah. Well, and keep in mind, not everybody gets it.
That's right. Not everybody gets it. And what else do we say? Sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. So,
well, it just all goes into our job is just to be the example, and that's planting the seeds. We don't know how that person is cultivating their seeds, Mm-hmm. It could be all on concrete and rock. Nothing sinks in, and nothing may never sink in. Mm-hmm. They're content where they're at in life. But then there's there's a little crack in that concrete, and maybe a little bit more with some personal experiences on their part that might open it up a little bit more to get that seed drop into those little cracks. Mm-hmm. Something might grow. But
yeah, most of the ones we're working with, you got to bust up that concrete, hope something seeps through the cracks.
Right.
Water it somehow or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's most people. But just planting the seeds, though, like I said, I was talking to I think last episode we were talking about a group of people down in San Antonio I was talking to about fasting. It's been a couple months when I started talking about it, and finally 2 months goes by and they're like, hey, remember that thing you were talking about fasting? Now they're doing it.
Oh, wow.
So she did a 32-hour fast last week, and next week she's going to try a 72-hour fast.
Great. It's not as hard as you think. Or
she
usually
was
not. What'd she say?
Well, she was only supposed to do a 24-hour.
Okay.
I said, do 24 hours and see how you feel. Well, she ended up doing 32 hours. Mm-hmm. She was, I actually was feeling good, and I wasn't hungry, so I just went a couple more hours. I was beautiful. Like, that's how you do it.
That's it. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, good.
So,
the cool thing about that is, once she does it a few times, I'd be interested to see if she has some type of, psychic change or, dramatic way of thinking change.
Could be.
So, at least about food, so.
Yeah. Well, that goes into, fasting goes into so many different facets of life. It's not always about food.
No, absolutely.
It could be technology. It could be sex. It could be, whatever.
Right.
I don't know anything about sexual.
Little Chrissy and think you're getting a buzz from it.
Right. That's the truth, though.
Yeah.
One less thing between you and the universe.
Right. One less distraction, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good stuff.
So, cool. That's all I got, buddy.
That's all my pitches.
Okay. Well, I got some other ideas that we can try next week. Left all my notes back at the office, but I got some good topics for coming up next week's.
All right, good deal. All right, sounds good. We'll let these people get back to what they're doing.
All right. Go get fierce. Go get aggressive.
You guys get out in the sun this weekend because it's going to be freezing Monday if you're in Texas.
Yeah.
Or basically in the United States.
There you go.
It's coming down from the Arctic. So,
there you go.
Fun stuff. I feel old talking about the weather.
Yeah, that you are old.
But it's dramatic, so.
Yes.
Wrap your pipes.
Yeah. I got a pipe you can wrap.
There you go.
Put that as one of our shorts.
There you go. Wrap the pipes. I love it.
Wrap the pipes.
All right.
All right, brother.
Peace out. Y'all get in the sun.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.